Morning, welcome to the next podcast of Andy Collier-talks cricket memorabilia. Number 142, so we're going strong. Thoroughly enjoyed every single one of them, and I hope you have too. So hopefully plenty more in the pipeline. So thanks very much for Pete Schofield for another edition of his lovely collection down under and into Inner Sanctum. Thoroughly enjoyed watching his stuff and talking about his things in his collection last weekend, to add to the other four I think he's put on so far. So enjoyed that. And also thank you to Rodney Elliott for doing that fantastic video of myself doing an information about the Across the Oceans book that I wrote about 3.5 years ago. Went down the Inner Sanctum and showed some photographs and what have you. So I hope you enjoyed that, which obviously you did with the amount of views on it. Just have to learn how to do it like Rodney does and slip in the pictures in the relevant places so you can get a better view of them. So thanks for Rodney for doing that. Thoroughly enjoyed it. So anyway, back on to stuff that's turned up in the last couple of weeks. First of all, Martin's Red Rose books there. Another catalogue come through with some very interesting bits and pieces in the catalogue. Good prices too. So hopefully you'll subscribe to Martin's Red Rose books and get your catalogue as well. And anyway, a couple of weeks ago, a postcard turned up thanks to Jonathan Farmer, which is a lovely postcard here with Surbiton Hospital cricket match, which Jack Hobbs and what have you played to raise money for the hospital. He also did obviously the Middlesex Hospital, so he was obviously quite a good money raiser, Jack Hobbs, with a name like that. But most of the Surrey players are down there. Difficult one was Andy Duckett, who's right at the back there, difficult to see. And if you look on Sports Page's website, there's a autograph sheet with this team in it. But I've got other things to buy at the moment, so I haven't got that. Hopefully that will remain there when the time comes. A lovely postcard there, and thank you very much to Jonathan for that one. Another fantastic postcard to come through was via Pete Schofield, was this one here. 1904 Test match. So it's a 1903-04 MCC tour to Australia. So this is the Melbourne Test, January 1st, 2nd, 4th and 5th, which was won by England. The result was won by England by 185 runs. On there was Johnny Tilsley with 97. Great innings there from Johnny Tilsley. But it's a record for Wilfred Rhodes, who took 15 for 124 runs in that Test match. And I think he was a little bit peeved with George Hurst, who got the last wicket in the second innings. Otherwise, Rhodes would be involved in all 10, but he was involved in 9, unfortunately. But perhaps had a few words after the game. But a lovely postcard there, and quite a rarity. Now, Pete was on about, he didn't quite know where they were printed, but I've got a pretty good feeling that they might have been printed in England with that postage stamp there with half D inland and foreign 1D. So that's my clue, looking at other postcards in the collection, that it's probably printed in England. Now there were another 5 cards in that series, obviously one for each Test match, and one which has the complete results on. So not only they're pretty rare, and when they come up I think they'd be quite a price, but that's a lovely postcard, so I'm pleased to have that. A few nice posts on Facebook the last few days concerning the 1888 team, Australian team, the 6th one to come over from Australia. This is a photograph of the Surrey and Australia match, or the Australians match, at the Oval, 1888 in May, and it shows Percy McDonald opening the batting and Alec Bannerman at this end. The reason I know that really was a lot of research with the score at 16 for no wicket there, and going by the crowd and what have you, and where I got them from, it ended up as Surrey v the Australians. What I hadn't seen before, and I still haven't, is a photograph with people sitting and viewing on the top of that building there, if you can see that. I've not seen another one with people on there, so obviously it's a massive crowd that day for Surrey v the Australians. Australia won quite comfortably inside 3 days, won in 2 days, so quite a nice result for them, but not the test match series, unfortunately. So there's the back of the card, and another card I put on which has the same backing, which is this one here, and is also, it's got to be the same chap that's taken the photographs, I would say, but this one I don't think is the same match because of the gasometers there for a start are slightly fuller than the one in that one. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be slightly later in the season and also a bit sunnier weather. So that's a few clues there. And also I can't match the score up, so I don't really know what it's definitely not the Australian match, so I can't match the score, so I'm not quite sure what that one is, but quite an interesting little pair of very rare photographs there. I just managed to get them actually, and when it was in those days when it was dial up on the computer, I was just set to bid and the dial up dropped out. It was only about 30 seconds to go, and I furiously tapped back on and managed to get them right at the last second for a pretty reasonable price. I think they're probably about £150, I think, something like that, but some fantastic images. I've also been talking about the shipping, obviously, with the book and what have you this week, and a fantastic book, if you can get hold of one, is this A Voyage with the Mails, which is produced by P&O. It gives you a pictorial viewing of the complete voyage from Tilbury to Brisbane and Melbourne. So some fantastic photographs in here that go around on your trip. Here they are aviculating the ship there. A couple more on here. Not easy to display actually for you, so bear with me. And they've just arrived here on this photograph at Melbourne, so at Port Melbourne. So there's a nice photograph there, so that gives you a complete description. Nice writing here of the voyage, everything to do with it. And you could buy that, believe it or not, in the barber's shop. This would have been this is 1920-21, the team that went over to Australia. And fortunately for me, there's a signed page at the front of the 1920-21 MCC side, which is a lovely thing, I have to say. This is all hand painted around here, watercolour, all this piping. It's a fantastic book. Thoroughly recommend it if you can get hold of one, but it might be slightly expensive if you get it with signatures in. So we're very pleased to have that. And the other thing that helped me greatly in the book was the Orient Line Fleet History by Peter Newell. If you want to know about P&O books, this is a kiddie to get. It gives a great information on all the ships from P&O Line and what they did in the war, whether they were in the war, whether they got sunk, what they did, troop ships. All the details are in here, which is a fantastic document, I have to say. And a lovely book, plenty of coloured pictures and what have you, so full of information. So if you want to get into the shipping, that's a good one to look out for. I think I got that in Waterstones for, blimey, 15 or 20 years ago, I think. So a nice one to get hold of. So anyway, that's about all for this week. I hope you've enjoyed that. And drink plenty of water in this hot sun and hot weather and keep safe. So I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.